All right, y'all.
What you snacking on?
Hey, real quick. Actually, no, this is the whole episode. Thank y'all. I want to say a big thank you to Black McClung.
Black History Month.
Black History Month is in full effect. If not for him, All-Star Weekend would have been terrible. We're here today to talk about how we want to fix All-Star Weekend going forward. Because this last weekend, outside Max performance was very underwhelming. The skills challenge didn't go very well. The dunk contest had very low moments that most folks weren't too fond of.
Mm-hmm.
The All-Star game didn't live up to expectations either. 3-point contest was sad to watch at times as well. A few of our guys had very sad, disappointing performances. So, yeah, a lot of things we want to talk about as we react to what happened this last week with All-Star Weekend, looking at how we're going to fix it as well. This is going to be one of a few conversations today. We're going to have a couple other conversations about, there's a lot of discussions about load management. We're going to talk about how we want to fix load management in another episode. We're going to talk about, we're going to do an NBA contenders tier list. We made a tier list for you guys. And we're going to do our ranked contenders, and that'll be later on. But today, right now, we're going to be talking about, the All-Star Weekend, how we want to fix that. So a lot of good stuff ahead for you guys. Appreciate all the love. Like, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff for us. And, yeah, let's get into it, man. It's going to be fun stuff going on today.
Yes, sir.
What is that?
I have to change the shirt up
real quick. Oh my God!
You're
a fraud. No, you're a fraud. You're a fraud. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. No. I don't care that Russ is there. That's the most blasphemous thing in my life. Oh my God. You can't. No.
Oh my God.
No. What is this?
Oh my God. No, that was just for you.
Explain yourself.
So the last time that Alana was in town, that's my girlfriend, for those who don't know. Last time she was in town, we went to a Clippers Nuggets game just to see a game. And it happened to be Hispanic Heritage Night, so they gave out those shirts. And I was like, I'm never gonna do anything with this shirt. But then,
hey brother, adios. good riddance. Get that out of here.
I was gonna give it to our boy Corey, who does fantasy football and stuff with us, because he's a big Clippers fan. But I thought about it when Russ decided to sign with the Clippers. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Don't ever. Oh my God! On top of the Lakers shirt too. Like, what are we doing? That's horrible. Oh, you threw off my whole episode right now. All right. Oh, Jesus. So yeah, we're definitely gonna talk a whole lot more about that with Lakers and all that later on. But as I said, we were talking about All-Star Weekend. I kind of gave a summary of what we thought about it, but more in depth, real quick, Alec. What were your takeaways from this last All-Star festivities that went on in Utah?
Yeah, I think overall the weekend was a slight L to me. I don't think it was horrible. The celebrity game actually was a little entertaining to me this year. I actually knew some of the celebrities in it this time, so it was kind of fun to watch. The dunk contest, as we said, Max saved that. 3-point shootout was cool. It's normally good. It was cool. Then the All-Star game was the major disappointment of the weekend, which we're going to talk about. So overall, it was okay, not great, but yeah.
It's just confusing because I think it was 2 years ago when they first implemented for the All-Star game, when they first implemented the scoring rules and how that would play. That game played out as great as you could have had it play out. Like, it was a very entertaining game. We loved every second of it, how the pace of it went and everything. And it seemed like they found a new formula to stick with. But ever since that game, it was like the guys just stopped caring. So now even with the formula that they had in place, the effort no longer is there. So we got what we got on Sunday, where Tatum dropped 53 points in the game, but you didn't even realize it until after the fact. And it was just, it was a very dud of a game. So with the All-Star game and all of it, where you want to start in regards to fixing it off?
I mean, the main thing is the game. So I think talking about the game first and foremost.
Sure, go straight into it.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard a lot of discussions since this past Sunday about the game, and I feel like people kind of are like not giving the players as much scrutiny as they should. Personally, in my opinion, it feels like there's a lot of excuses for why like they don't want to be competitive in the game.
Mm-hmm.
When these guys, like, they're paid to put on a show, so like I understand like the oops and the deep threes and all that, like that stuff is fun to watch. But when you guys like aren't competing at all against each other, really, there's really not a reason for me to tune in, because like I see you guys pull dunks and deep threes in regular season games too. Like that's not a whole lot different than what I'm getting in the regular season product. I'd like to see the guys at the top of their craft going head to head, and with a little bit of pride. It's like they don't really care necessarily to compete at all. So I think for me, a change that I'd like to see, while I do like the guys picking their team before, like the draft was cool. It kind of went on a long time pregame, but that aspect was cool. I do think though, like if they reverted it back to West versus East and actually made like the winner of the game got home court advantage in the playoffs or something like in the finals, I like something to actually make them compete, because money can only do so much. Like if you gave the winners $1 million and the losers 25K or whatever, maybe they'd care. I don't know. But like I think something that like they'll actually care about.
That could be a thing. I don't want to interfere with the playoffs in that regard. So I like to keep the playoffs as is. So I wouldn't make the All-Star game have that impact. I want them just to go out there and play just for the fun of it. And I think finding other ways to do so.
That ain't enough for them currently. The fun of it.
Clearly, it's not. But just thinking, I don't want the finals to be influenced because of essentially a pickup game halfway through the season. So I wouldn't necessarily go that far. But I get what you're saying, and I understand the thought and why you went in that direction.
Yeah, that's part of my issue, that it's a pickup game. Like, yes, we like the pickup style of them choosing, but like it's just like a pickup game they don't care about. Like it's like if any five of us decided to go out there and play 5-on-5, like they don't care about this game at all.
I definitely get that. Something that could be it. I guess other solutions would be, and this is going to be blunt, and it's just going to be just a thought that came to mind. Okay. Many times when you talked about $1 million goes to the player and it's whatever, usually they say it as it's going to the player's charity or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, let's just be real here. The guys want to get paid. So pay the player direct. Be upfront. I know there's all the charity and stuff. We're going to pay you guys extra money. We want you to actually play a game. If we got to put extra $1 million in your pocket, we got to put extra $2 million or whatever in your pocket to do so. We're going to pay y'all direct. If you want to put it to your charity afterwards, great. But for y'all in y'all pockets, here's some extra cash. We want you to go and play and have a real performance. I know that there's all kinds of things. We're talking about load management later on. There's all kinds of injuries and things that come into play, and people are scared to put out extra effort in these games. But we've seen this game be very successful many times in the past. We want to get back to that. So if we got to put a couple extra dollars for y'all to do so, we'll make sure that you guys are playing a whole lot of minutes. Every guy will play 20 minutes max or something like that, whatever. We want to see y'all out there, at least for a little while, putting up some effort. So we have an entertaining product for the one chance that we get to see throughout the year of guys, or ever, honestly, of guys on different teams getting together and having a moment like this, which the All-Star Weekend is meant to be, having all this unity amongst other guys. So, yeah, if you got to put some extra money directly to these guys' pockets, do so. Another thing, I guess, staying in the blunt direction, I guess, I think it's a little harder for guys to get up in Salt Lake City, Utah, compared to LA or Miami or whatever. And while for the fans and for the product of the league, you want to have all-star games and things of that nature in these other locations, so your fans in all regions can see these people. I guess for the product, as things have gone heavily digital, and there's a lot more concern about streaming numbers and whatever the case may be. If you got to put these players in a place where they're going to want to play, if you got to put them in LA, Miami, the warm weather cities, whenever they play, because it's going to result in a better product, and that's what you got to do. So I think those are the top two that come to mind And if there's anything else, if you want to refute that, go ahead.
No, I'm not mad at the idea of incentivizing them with more money. At the same time, though, like it also goes into the issue of load management and guys like not playing games as well to it, and they still get paid multi-billion-dollar contracts regardless.
Sure.
So maybe it comes to, no one's gonna like this, but taking money out of contracts if you're like not performing in the games as well too, because you're already getting, the guys on the All-Star stage are all getting probably an average of 25 million, and that might be the low end.
Right.
So like an extra million or two, while it's still an extra million or two, is not necessarily moving the needle for especially the guys that have been perennial All-Stars and veterans and have got multiple max contracts.
Mm-hmm.
A couple extra millions not going to move the needle, I don't think. So I think when you're hitting guys' wallets, it probably, they feel it a little bit more. And that's the only reason why I mentioned like it affecting who gets like home court advantage in the playoffs too, because like when it affects something that they actually care about, I feel like that's when they'll start to care about the game. I don't know if the NBA did that previously, but I know the MLB used to do that, where the World Series was home court advantage was based off of who won the All-Star game, and they changed it. It's not that anymore. But I think it makes for better competition. I think another thing that you could do is make it a target score just for the entire game. Sure. Like a target score of 100 or 150. Or each quarter. I don't think, maybe when they first did it after Kobe passed, they did do it like this, where it was a target score each quarter.
Correct.
I think keeping it as that, like target score of 25 for each quarter, and then going into the fourth, it's a target score of added 25 to that, whoever is ahead. I think that works well, and I think it worked well, because that is kind of like pickup as well, where you're usually playing 1s and 2s to 15 or whatever.
Exactly.
2s and 3s to 25. I think like guys will be a little bit more competitive when they know exactly like what their goal is, kind of thing. So maybe going back to a more strict format like that, where each quarter you're going to a target score.
I'm cool with that. No solution that I'm just thinking of that somebody else proposed. I've seen a few people bring up for the rookie games and things. They do the USA versus the world. They did it at times. Just want to see that as a thing, and that this could be a slight precursor to the Olympics or whatever the case may be. And we get the USA team and guys that want to fight for that. That could be a little bit more of an incentive. Like, hey, this is the USA team. If you guys want to be on this team, you guys want to show what you got now, so we know what we got coming up when the whole world will be watching later on. So that be an option too.
I think that'd be fun. That'd be fun. The only thing is like, if you would have like enough numbers, like side for side, I think you could, like the talent's there. It's just like how the voting would shake out, like the fan voting, how that would shake out as far as who.
You might just stretch a little bit. Hey, LeBron, he played overseas for something like that.
It was fun when they did it for the Rising Stars, like when they had the international versus the US players. I know some of them take pride in that. Like I know Giannis is very fond of like the foreign guys and Luka and that kind of thing. So that could be fun as well. But part of it, ultimately, it's going to boil down to like these guys taking pride in the product too. I feel like we're kind of letting them off the hook, like thinking of ways how can we get them to care more. It's like the guys used to care more when they played in the All-Star game. So maybe it's part of just this generation that we've come to, like this era of basketball. But I feel like as recently as the last like 10 years ago, guys cared more about the All-Star product in the game too. And maybe that's just the type of guys we have to got at the head of the league, the Kobe versus LeBron mentality kind of thing. But I don't know.
Again, we're just throwing out ideas at this point. But something else that came to mind, this will be the last, I guess maybe one of the last things we'll go to other stuff. But for the All-Star game, I do like the draft.
I do too.
And the only issue was there were a few matches I wanted to see or got ended up on the same team. Like I wanted to see Jokic and Embiid against each other and things like that. but because of alliances or whatever,
we might have. Jokic picked his own team at the end. He didn't want to get picked last.
Pretty much. But even still, guys end up for whatever their relationships or whatever, pick guys as they do. So I guess a way that could be fixed would be maybe instead of having a player captain that votes for them, TNT is always involved in these things every year. Have Team Shaq, have Team Chuck, and let them draft, because they won't have biases in that. They'll try to put guys against each other.
That's true.
And try to have fun with it. So
that would actually be fun.
All that as it is, having Shaq draft his team, have Chuck draft his team, let them go against each other, have them on the sideline if you want to, whatever. But I think having someone else besides the players, where you have LeBron drafting all his boys and Giannis trying to draft his boys, just have somebody that's going to try to put the best team together to compete. I think that ended up working out a little bit better. So that's another solution, and we'll see what else could come of that.
I like that idea. If you do stick with the draft, I do like that idea of taking guys that like aren't going to be playing in the game as well, and not coaches either, because it could get a little weird with the coaches picking the players. So I like that idea of Chuck versus Shaq kind of thing, because they already have their little sibling rivalry already.
They're well renowned, so it's not like it's going to be these like who these random guys drafting. We all know. Shaq and
the game's on TNT.
It's on TNT and all of that. Yeah, I'm all for letting them draft and go about it that way. So we'll see how that goes. What else would you want to fix with All-Star Weekend? Is there anything else major that you have concerns with?
I like the current format of the 3-point shootout and the dunk contest and skills challenge. I don't know if we need the skills challenge. It could go back to what it used to be as a skills challenge.
To the old format of the skills challenge. I'll sit there for a quick second. I didn't like the new version where they had the first round, they had the obstacle course, and the second round it was like a shooting or something like that. I'm like, just have them do their speed run through all the stuff. One guy goes against one guy, and leave it at that. The whole 3-guy unit. And the Oscar brothers, respect to y'all, but we're tired of watching y'all, and that's enough. So get the stars back in this game. I think it's another way where you can get a chance to highlight guys that may not be able to make it into the All-Star game. Top tier guys randomly. I'm just thinking the names, trying to think of names. Darius Garland or something like that. Guys that maybe were borderline All-Star guys. Brunson, who couldn't make the All-Star game. Let them go and do the obstacle course and still be involved in some of their facilities some kind of way, though they couldn't be in it, and have them play in that game, in that activity. So, I think that's the solution there for sure. Just getting the right guys.
I agree. And then one idea that I liked that I heard, I think it was from Trill Withers' podcast, but it was about the dunk contest and having the winner of the dunk contest compete in next year's, so that you have some kind of continuity, like some form of thing where like guys are like taking pride a little bit in that. Like, maybe it's not that like as long as you win it, you keep doing it every single year, because no one's gonna want to commit to just doing it in perpetuity.
Of course.
But the champion like comes back for the next year, and if he wins again, then you just move on to other contestants. But the champion gets a chance to like defend
the champion either defends or votes. You can make him a voter for the dunk contest next year. Make him on the judge. So instead of having Karl Malone on the judge, instead we have a current player on there that won last year. I could say what's the best stuff. So that could be a fun thing. Also with that, moving on to the dunk contest, another idea. The reality is for a while they tried to push back against or try to steer away from all the TikTok dunkers or the guys that just dunk for a living, how you want to describe
them. Non-NBA dunkers.
Non-NBA dunkers, wherever the case may be. I think we're just at the point where for a lot of fans, especially the kids who are a large part of the target audience, they've seen a lot of the biggest dunks already a billion times online because of those guys that go out there and do that for a living. So with that being the case, and many guys, regardless of who the players are, coming in and being unable to fully figure out what kind of dunks to do themselves. We saw Jericho Sims go out and essentially do the same dunk twice out there last weekend, and people had the reaction that they did, and things didn't fully go. Even so, the point I was going to make is, even though you may have the NBA dunkers performing in the event, I think you kind of make it almost like in Dancing with the Stars, you have the celebrity with the professional dancer. Go ahead and take one of these TikTok dunkers.
Yeah, that's where you're going to go. I like that idea.
Let them give the NBA guys some help them with their dunks or whatever the case, and the guys that perform the best win. So maybe they don't dunk themselves in it, where they're at least giving the NBA guys ideas and helping them out, and they could be involved in that kind of way. Or something like that. So
I like that
see them involved in some kind of way, because we all know them at this point. Mac McClung kind of was that for a little while. They brought up, I think his name was Jordan something. I forgot his name fully, but there are a few very notable dunk TikTok dunkers. I forgot how you want to probably label them. But they are notable that they even mentioned during the broadcast. And it's like we all know them at this point. There's no reason to keep dancing around them.
Didn't they have a show on TNT after some of the games where they were doing?
They had the dunk show with Kenny. I think was on there as a judge or whatever. It's like you guys are very aware of them. You've seen them in person and seen the creativity. I think I watched one episode and they even made jokes like, "They gonna do this in our dunk contest. Like, what's going on? Like all that kind of stuff." So they're very aware that there's better dunkers out there. Go ahead and let these guys help the real guys. So when you have the NBA guys that have the athleticism and show they're in the contest, but don't have the full creativity for this event, let them do that. So even though we may not have Anthony Edwards dunking, we may not have John Morant dunking, at least the guys that are going to be in there are going to put up a good performance.
That was going to be my last point. Don't be a John Morant as well if you're an NBA player. Don't be the guy that thinks he's too cool to do the dunk contest. Because the dunk contest is cool when guys that are really elite at doing it decide to do it. It's been dope in the past. So like,
it was almost a rite of passage kind of thing until LeBron said, "I'm good."
maybe I'm with you. LeBron ruined the dunk contest.
I'm trying. We just try to help you out.
I feel like I still can't just pin it on that man, but it definitely influenced it. I mean, because he was out there in like 2010 or whatever, saying, "I'm gonna compete. I'm gonna do it next year or whatever."
Dallas or whatever, and then just didn't show up. So,
but I don't understand. I don't understand the thought process of like why guys feel like Ja do. Like, I'm too good for that kind of thing. Because it's like, what's the downside of doing it? Like, if you lose, so what? Like, no one's like,
"Oh, I'm an in-game dunker." Yeah, all these guys are in-game, whatever.
Right?
It's not a valid. That's not the point.
The problem is a lot of these guys don't get in the game. Like,
right,
we're getting a lot of bench players in this. So,
I definitely think. And another thing too, it's like, oh, I don't want to get injured. Like we had Blake Griffin jump over a car and he didn't get hurt. We had John Collins fly with the Tuskegee Airmen and didn't get hurt.
Oh, that was trash. That was trash.
Whatever, trash or not, we've had all the grand. Even Aaron Gordon when he was jumping over the mascot and stuff. We haven't had guys out there tearing ACLs or something like that.
No.
So it's not like this is an injury thing. This is one of the events where you can go out for a moment and show your skill and dip out of there. So all the excuses they keep making, it doesn't fully make sense to me either.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know what other solutions there are. I think letting them pair with if they're not going to get the stars, then if they're going to let the other guys that are going to be in there pair with the professional dunkers, that'd be great. But besides that, I think that is it. So we talked about the All-Star game. We talked about the skills challenge. We talked about the 3-point contest just a little bit, I believe, in the dunk contest. Yeah, so we crossed all of our bases there. Anything else you want to add real quick?
Yeah, I feel like lastly, I would like to hear from the players themselves, like what they think should change, what they think they should do instead. Because, I mean, the players get a lot of say in a lot of what happens in this league. This is largely a players' league. And you had guys after this game saying this is a trash game of basketball. So, like, what can the league do to make it so that you guys want to compete?
Right.
Want to be in the dunk contest, want to be in the shootout.
In the game saying it's trash. I'm like, y'all are in the game. If y'all would just try, it wouldn't be trash. Like, what are y'all talking about? Play.
Right. Like, we can't make you play. Like, you're the one playing.
Bullshiders play every day if that's going to be the case. Man. So, we'll see. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'd love to hear what they have to say, how they can improve the game, because they're the ones actually in it. Like, how can we make you want to care and play this game? Make Absolutely. You care and want to participate in these contests. So,
yeah. So we shall see what changes going forward. But we've thrown out a lot of good ideas here. I think we threw out a lot of good ideas. Let us know what you guys think of what we said. We're going to be back talking about some other things going on in the league. As I said, load management is a big issue as well in the league right now. Still, there's been a lot of talk this last week as we're gearing up for the back half of the season about load management and guys sitting out. LeBron said it's the most important 23 games of the regular season of his career. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on and all of that, as well as our contender list for the rest of the year as well. So a few more good things on the way. Appreciate y'all for tuning into this one. Make sure you subscribe to the show and all that, staying up to date as we continue to drop all these episodes throughout the week. And yeah, appreciate y'all. We'll be back shortly. Peace.
Deuces.